Let me hear you say Crux, yeah! Crux, yeah! Let me hear you say Crux, yeah! Crux, yeah! Crux, yeah podcast.
Crux Crawford.
Crux, yeah. What is up? It is the double-digit episode, believe it or not. Ladies and gentlemen, this is already episode 10. Man, that's quick. And this is not the kind of double-digit episode that I wanted to do, but, you know, I have to do it because I have to keep talking to you. I have to keep my release schedule. I said I'm doing it every Tuesday. It's not the kind of episode that I wanted to do, but hey, here I am again. I got so much going on this week, and it's just a weird collision of events in all this time, man. It's because I have, you know, things going on at home, and coming up on it's a busy weekend that I'm in the middle of here. It's my baby boy's first birthday this week, so I'm got that going on. Got parents coming into town. Got a birthday party for him, his little baby birthday party. So, you know, I got a lot of things going on and setting up. I know I sound like that guy that's like, man, I swear I'm going to pay you back that $20 I owe you, man. Man, I swear I'm going to get things together. Things will happen. You'll see. But no, man, as much as I seem like that guy that's never going to get his shit together and never going to get things up and running, I promise this podcast is going to be a lot more exciting. It's going to have a lot more going on. You know, I appreciate everybody tuning in that does and listen to me do this, especially the last couple weeks when I've had to do these solo episodes. But yeah, man, I'm going to have everything up and running, hopefully by next week. And if not, then by very, very soon. You know, get my studio up and running, have guests back, have a regular schedule of guests. That's all definitely going to happen, and I'm going to make it happen as soon as I possibly can. But in the meantime, I didn't want you all to forget about me and wonder what happened to Crux, you know, wonder what happened to me. So you're like, dude, we don't even care. I just clicked on this so I could listen to something boring to go to sleep before I went to bed. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, interesting week this week, you know, just worked a lot, worked on comedy a lot. Did one of my second to last door shifts at Hyenas Fort Worth just because I got to focus more on doing other open mics. But I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish while I was working the door there. It was cool. I got to meet a lot of touring comedians, a lot of local pro comedians, and I got to meet a lot of open micers that I might not have met as quickly or not come in contact with otherwise. So that was cool. You know, it was a good experience. I gained a lot from it. I accomplished everything I needed to in the couple months that I did it, and I can say I did it. So that's cool, you know, and I can move on. And I got to work one more shift next week, you know, because I was never doing it for the money. I was just doing it to meet people, man, and get plugged in the comedy scene here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So, you know, I accomplished that, and I've made a lot of good connections, you know, just good people that I've met, and, you know, a lot of people that I can have on the podcast in the future that don't live here that I can, you know, have an interview for the podcast. So that's great, and that's all I wanted anyway. So mission accomplished. But yeah, it's been an interesting week. Like I said, worked on comedy, worked on my set, tried some new stuff out. Got these weird stalker letters from the HOA. I live in an HOA community, you know, that's where my house is. And for anybody out there that also lives in an HOA community or an HOA neighborhood or whatever you want to call it, you know those notices that you get, you know. I don't know. I rented from an HOA before, so I never really got the notices. So maybe the person that owned the, you know, the property that I lived in got them. But they send you these letters in this HOA where they're like, it's really weird. Like if anybody else did this to you or any other neighbor did this to you, you would, I don't know, you would find it very weird. You would definitely steer clear of them if they did this. They take pictures of what they find to be a problem about your house or your yard, and they mail it to you and give you a message to fix the problem that they're taking a picture of. How weird is that? That's very weird. I mean, in what other situation do you take a picture of someone's lawn or their front yard or their front yard fence and go, hey, I was driving by at around 3 p.m. and I noticed that your grass was about a quarter inch too long. You should think about fixing that as soon as you can. I was driving by yesterday at about 2 p.m. and I noticed that your fence needed a fresh coat of paint. Needed a couple new pickets on that fence too. Why don't you go ahead and fix that up? It's like that's the weirdest thing ever. They're like the only people, unless you're selling your house and you're getting professional pictures taken of it, they're the only people that are allowed to take a picture of your house and have it not be weird. Even though it's still weird. It's weird to me. But technically, they're just doing their job. They're just making sure you're in compliance with the HOA court. And it's like, what do you even do? What do they do? What do HOAs really do? I've rented in a couple HOA neighborhoods, and now I am a homeowner in an HOA neighborhood. And I can tell you, for what they charge you, they do very little. You ask them what they do, you kind of ask yourself what they do. And it's like, well, we hang up Christmas lights in the dumb entrance to the neighborhood, and we mow the lawn in the public areas that you can't mow the lawn of because it's the front area that you didn't even ask for. That's all they really do, man. That's it. It's like having your own personal set of a stalker that's like okay to be a stalker. You know, like taking pictures of your house, regulating everything. I don't know. You know, I guess some parts of it are good. I guess some parts are positive. Like, you know, you can't just say, hey, I'm going to start a chicken farm in my backyard. But I mean, that doesn't make any difference either, because if you live in a city, even if it's non-HOA, you can't do that. There's city ordinances and certain codes and stuff that prevent you from doing that anyway. So it's not like the HOA is helping you out there with something that the city couldn't do or couldn't regulate, you know? I don't know. The whole thing seems like they've always seemed kind of like a bullshit scam to me, you know? I don't know. I think they do a couple nice things, or they take care of a couple things that are positive, supposedly, but I don't know, man. I don't like it. I don't like the letters, that's for sure. So I'm making a bit about that. I've been working on that this week. That's one of the things with comedy that I worked on. Got some good feedback on it. Yeah. And then, I don't know, handled a couple phone calls. I dealt with a couple telephone tough guys this week, man. Couple telephone tough guys. I always think it's funny when people do that. When they act like, you know, when they try to act like they're really hard, try to boss you around on the phone. I don't know. When I was younger, I would have gotten into it with them, but I just kind of laugh at it now, you know, instead of just, you know, blowing up on the phone at them, trying to prove something to myself, trying to tell myself when I get off the phone that I told that guy or I proved him wrong. It's not going to do anything. So I don't know. I just try to be positive. A couple of it were like, you know, a couple of those kind of calls were like work calls, whatever, but you know, just people, I think, I don't know if it's a lack of self-awareness that people have when they act like that, or maybe just I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. It's really just a lack of self-awareness. Like, if I act like a dick to you on the phone and I act like the man or like some tough guy or whatever, I think that's just, I don't realize how I'm coming off, you know? Or maybe, hey, I'm so frustrated and I'm upset with my life that I just don't care. I don't know. I've had moments like that, but I catch myself because I know what it's like to talk to people like that. And I tell myself, I don't want to be someone like that. I don't want to come off that way, you know? So I don't do it. But I think maybe if you don't examine yourself like that, or you haven't been in situations where you deal with a lot of people, you know, for work or for whatever reason, if you're not dealing with a lot of people, you don't really realize how you're coming off, you know? And I've had a bunch of sorry, this mic is giving me some problems here. Squeakage. I don't, there we go. Yeah, I don't know where that comes from, but I just know that I've gotten a lot better with that over time. I've gotten a good grip on how I'm coming off and the kind of vibe I'm putting out there, you know, and, I try not to let the fact that I'm having a bad day project onto someone else. I think that's important not to do that, you know, because putting negative energy out there, I've found, is not a good thing to do. Like, standing up for yourself is one thing. If you're being mistreated or someone's being rude to you, yeah, of course, you got to correct that. You got to stand up. You can't just be disrespected, but you don't need to take frustration or anger you're having out on other people. You know, I used to do that all the time, man. I remember I was signing up for a gym membership at a 24-hour fitness back in LA, in the neighborhood I lived in at the time. This is several years ago. And I was going through a lot of different stuff. You know, I was starting to date the girl that I ended up marrying, and, you know, had a lot of feelings, you know, for her, and I was trying to process those, and I didn't like my job at the time. I was barely getting by, barely making money, and I was taking a break from music back then too, so I didn't have any kind of creative outlet, so there was frustration there. And, you know, so I just let all that blow up. When they were trying to upgrade my membership when I was signing up, I was like, fuck this. I'll go on Yelp. I'll give you guys 1 star. You better just give me the deal that I'm asking for, and, you know, stop, you know, da-da-da-da-da. I was a total dickhead, made a big scene, you know, in front of everybody, trying to act like a big man. And luckily the manager there was really good, man. I remember he kept his composure, and he was just like, no problem, we'll do that for you. Just need a smile from you or something like that. You know, just let me see a smile. And I gave him a half-assed smile just to appease him, you know. And then the guy who originally brought me to that manager to get me signed up was like, hey, you didn't have to do that, man. I mean, that wasn't the right way to do it. And at the time I was like, fuck that, man. I got what I wanted. That's what I was thinking to myself when I was leaving the gym. But that kid was right. You know, he was right. I didn't have to do that. And there's so many different ways to go about getting what you want that I've learned since then, you know. And it's just not good. It's not good to do that. And it's not good to, you know, ruin other people's days while they're trying to do their jobs, you know. I've gotten a way better concept of that over time, and I've become way more aware of it over time. I think that stuff's important, you know. I think it's really important to just kind of, you know, especially if it's someone's job, especially if they're working there, you know what I mean? Like at a gym or store or wherever. You know, I've been in so many customer service situations, dude. And, you know, you tend to want to do more for people when they're being courteous to you, even if it's a pain to do it, or you're doing something that's not really your job, or they're asking you to do something you don't have to do for them at all. You want to do it when someone treats you right. You know, when they're being courteous to you, even if they're doing asking you to do something that you don't technically have to do in your job, you know what I mean? Or, you know, do extra work, like look something up for them or whatever. If they're being nice and respectful to you, you're more inclined to do that, even if you don't have to, you know? And it's not even necessarily I want to do it so I can get more of what I want. Just I feel more at peace when I treat people right, you know? And I've gotten a lot better at that, you know? The last time I blew up on the phone at somebody was surprise, surprise, the company that's supposed to be getting my custom door here ready for my office pretty soon, you know? Like they just kept just giving me horrible customer service, and just came off like they didn't care, and I couldn't stand for it. So I'm not perfect, you know. I don't treat everybody, you know, just, you know, absolutely pristine or anything like that. But I try to do my best, and I've gotten a lot better. You know, I've gotten a lot better. And I found it makes me feel, you know, regardless of what it gets me or doesn't get me or what benefit it has, it makes me feel, you know, more like a person. You know, it makes me feel just more content. And that's the important thing. You know what I mean? That's why I continue to work on it, because I feel better inside, you know, when I do that and have that kind of courtesy. It's getting to be my favorite time of year coming up. Just, you know, last week was Labor Day weekend, so this week is it's kind of like that's the mark. I know technically summer goes till September 20 something or whatever the fuck it is. What is it this year anyway? Let's see. See, at the very least, if you're still listening this far into this podcast while you're driving or you're doing something, at least you're going to know what day summer officially ends and fall officially begins this year. You're like, thanks, I could have Googled that, you fucking idiot. Well, that's what I'm doing too. And you're going to find out right now, so fuck you, either way. Let's see. First day of fall, 2021. September 22nd. Okay, so we're in like, you know, beginning of September right now. So September 22nd, even though that's technically the first day of fall this year, right? So it's usually somewhere in like late September. It still kind of feels like, and I think a lot of people kind of mark the end of Labor Day weekend, once that comes and goes, school's back in pretty much everywhere in the country at that point. I know everybody goes back at certain times of year, but usually after Labor Day weekend or close to it, most schools are back in. The summer is kind of considered officially over after you pass through Labor Day, right? That's what most people consider. They're not going to call it's summer anymore. After you get past that first few days of September, you're basically saying fall. No one's saying like, hey, I'm enjoying my summer, in September after Labor Day especially. So we're getting to be coming up on fall, and it's my favorite time of year. Halloween is my favorite holiday of the year. Excited to be working on the Halloween song for We Are the Flesh too, because we've been wanting to do a Halloween song for a while. Our old producer, Andrew Wade, he brought it up like over a year ago. He's like, man, you guys have such a Halloween kind of sound with a lot of the beats and a lot of the music you make. You should definitely do a Halloween song, like just a general Halloween song, So, we're excited, man. It looks like we're going to be able to hit that, release for October for a Halloween song. It's going to be cool. We like what we've been working on. I shared a couple weeks ago, I shared some of the beginning stages of the music for it. If you want to go back and listen to the end of that episode, that was my first solo episode before I realized I was going to do a solo episode every fucking week. Nah, man, it's a temporary thing. I'll do it in the future at some point, I'm sure, but I definitely want to keep having guests. But yeah, Halloween's favorite time of year. Excited to do a Halloween song during my favorite time of year, about my favorite time of year, so that's cool. And it's going to be cool here, man, living in Texas, because, after years and years and years of California fall, it's not really that much different from the summer. It's pretty much just as hot. The weather's pretty much just the same, So there's not really a big difference. You just know because of the calendar, a couple leaves fall here and there on some of the trees just because that's the time of year that they need to cycle in, because of the kind of tree it is. But that's it. Here, though, I'm excited because I've heard from a lot of people that Texas, especially this part of Texas, North Texas, is really cool for fall. You got some leaf fall action. Pretty much all the leaves fall off all the trees, and it gets the temperature cools way down. The days get shorter, and I just love that feeling, man. And so if it's going to be intensified out here, that's great. I'm excited for it. I'm going to try to hit up as many haunted houses and scary mazes as I can. I heard there's some pretty big badass ones out here. But with everything I got going on and got another kid on the way, due either at the end of the year or beginning of next year. So going to do everything I can this year, but the wife is carrying another little one. It's not just me and her, so we'll try to do as much as we can. I heard there's some cool ghost tours and stuff around where in a town that's not too far from here, so I want to go try to check that stuff out if we can. And hey, it's not a big deal. If we don't get a chance to do a lot of it this year, we'll certainly get a chance to do more of it next year, so not a big deal. But yeah, really pumped about that. And yeah, man, I'm just excited that the weather's going to, the temperatures cool down here, faster. Because like I said, it's gotten to the point now where in Southern California, you're dealing with August, September, October. I mean, all the way to Thanksgiving pretty much. It's over 80 degrees every day. Some people say, oh, that's great. But after you live that year after year after year after year, it gets old because, as the days get shorter and you get into fall, you kind of want it to cool down. I don't know. We'll see how I like it. It's going to be my first time experiencing that really. So it'll be cool. But yeah, the HOA thing and working on that, working on a spin with positive. You never hear about positive ghosts haunting houses, man. It's always negative. It's always violent. It's always like, oh my God, I came home and the dishes were swirling around and my kid was crying and they had marks on their arms and doors were slamming. It's never like I came home and the laundry was folded and the dishes were done and the bed was made, You never hear any kind of positive ghost stories, man. I want to try to work that in. Something that was good, They just helped you out, made your bed for you. I don't know. But yeah, God, what else happened to me this week? I picked up, I'm so glad. Look, if you work in a restaurant, either front of house or back of house, in the kitchen or at the register, you're a server. My heart goes out to you. One of my best friends, did restaurants and restaurants management for a long time. I think it's just crazy the stress that I think a lot of people have when they work there, because you got to get orders ready on time. Picked up a big catering order this week, and man, I just saw how stressed out all the employees were trying to get all the orders out every week, and it's hard work, man. And I'm really glad that I'm not in that industry anymore. I haven't been for a really, really long time, but I was in it for a while, and yeah, it's hard work, man. Physically, mentally, it's stressful. It's draining. And I saw them getting the order ready. They're like, oh, the manager's telling this kid like to get everything ready, and he's trying to make sure. You can tell he's stressed out. You can tell they have a lot of orders that day. And man, I don't miss that. But it's tough work. And if you do something like that, I tell you, like you're earning your stripes, man. It's a tough job, dude. It's tough. It's a tough job that I think people don't give a lot of credit to, because they don't realize exactly how much work goes into it, So watching them get those orders ready and scrambling around for like a lunch rush, definitely, man, I was like, yeah, that's what those people are going through. That's what they're doing, Yeah, it was cool. Worked the door last night. Chris Porter was the headliner. Very nice guy. Very cool comedian. I don't know a ton of his stuff, but I got to check it out because I've heard nothing but good things. I just hasn't come up as something I need to do in my head, so I haven't checked out a lot of his comedy, but I definitely should because he definitely seemed really cool. Yeah, man. A lot of people catching COVID. Little, not, hundreds, but little people I know, like in the comedy community and, people I work with and people I see out there, in my weekly routines. Yeah, little 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s, starting to catch COVID again. So I don't know. I'm fully vaxxed. So, nothing's happened to me yet, but we'll see. I guess it's supposed to wear off over time. I guess when you get the vaccine, it's supposed to take several months, but I guess, who knows? We'll see what happens, like with these boosters and all that stuff. And yeah, the only thing I know for sure is that having to show a vaccination card to get into somewhere or to do something is absolutely stupid to me. Like that whole thing is just ridiculous. Like, hey, if you want to get the vaccine, it's available to you. It's free. Get it. I got it because, my wife really wanted to go visit, her sister, and see her nephew and stuff. And she really wanted to get done. So I got it too. And hey, it is what it is. I made a decision. I was like, whatever. If you don't want to get the vaccine, hey, the risk that you're taking. If you still want to go out and, you want to wear a mask, that's fine. If you feel more protection, you don't want to wear a mask, whatever. I don't care either. I don't really wear a mask a lot, but, just be aware of the consequences. If you don't get the vaccine, you're that much more likely to get sick. And if you're fine with that and you're fine with the risks, that's fine. But forcing people to show proof that they've been vaccinated, God, that just seems like, I don't know if that's technically unconstitutional or not. I feel like it is, but I have no idea because I've been too lazy to look it up and been busy, and I have no fucking idea. But it certainly feels that way, man. It feels like it doesn't feel good. I'll tell you that. Whether it's legal or not, obviously, certain cities and states are doing that, but it certainly doesn't feel right. It seems so weird, like you have to show that you did this thing in order to go somewhere that, you used to be able to just go to. Everybody knows about, the risks by now. We're so far into this thing, God, that's annoying. Sorry. Okay, it's over. Everybody knows the risks that are involved in this thing. You know what I mean? Of like, everybody knows somebody who's gotten COVID at this point. Everybody knows what it's about. Everybody knows the side effects. Everybody knows the risks of, wearing or not wearing a mask, regardless of what your opinions are, getting vaxxed, not getting vaxxed, whatever, It's like, dude, just if people are making a decision to go somewhere out in public, just let them go do it, But yeah, it is what it is. It's a part of everyday life at this point. Some cities around here, even in Texas, are, bringing I haven't seen it personally, but I've heard that some cities are bringing back mask mandates around here. Like I said, I don't know for sure. I'll tell you what, I haven't worn a mask in months and months and months, and I haven't been told to put one on, unless I'm taking a flight. That's the only time. When I've been to the airport and on a plane, that's the only time I put a mask on. And then, hospital. Like when I've been to the hospital for baby checkups and stuff, had to put a mask on. So those two places, other than that, I haven't worn a mask. I haven't taken my personal mask out of my truck and put it on probably since at least May, if not earlier than that. And hey, you know what? I got vaccinated. That's my decision. That's where I stand on it. You know what I mean? So I'm everything's available to everybody. Everybody knows the risks at this point. I took action. So, it is what it is. Hopefully I don't have to start wearing it again, man. That whole thing was annoying to me. And, we'll see. We'll see what happened. Everything's so uncertain, man. Everybody thought it was we were just going to be able to just kind of go back to normal. It seemed like that a few months ago. And then all of a sudden, everything gets pulled back. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's a very, very interesting time that we're in with everything going on. Cool thing is, the fortunate thing, honestly, all I really care about with COVID and everything, especially with the position I'm in, is that, multiple studies have shown that small children and infants have very little, if any, kind of side effect. There's that one case in a million where a kid had to be, airlifted to a hospital and stuff like that. Obviously, yeah, there are exceptions to the rule, just like with everything. But generally speaking, most little kids and babies and stuff have not shown to have any kind of crazy effects from COVID. So that's all I care about. If my kid's going to be okay, then it's going to be okay, But other than that, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do. I just got to see how it plays out. And, if rules get implemented, that I have to follow, it is what it is. But yeah, man. What else happened to me? What else was I thinking about? God. Just got these. I've been getting an absurd amount of spam calls, of the robocalls. I feel like they did something about it and they stopped them for a long time, and then all of a sudden they started sparking up again. I don't know why. I don't know if that's everybody out there, if that's just me, but definitely this week. It's crazy. I'm getting like 5 or 6 of them a day. It's crazy. And it just I feel like it calmed down for a while and then it came back. I'm not really sure. But yeah, man, a lot of people are getting excited about hunting here, heading into hunting season. That's something I would like to learn more about and learn how to do over time. This year, I'm not going to be able to do it. I just don't have time with everything I got going on. But in the future, I'd definitely like to learn more about it as time goes on. It's definitely something I'd like to develop because it's important, It's important to be able to provide for yourself and, know exactly where your food comes. Obviously I know where my food comes from, but to be able to actually, bring it home, I think is cool. If you need to, if I'm in a situation, look at the last couple years we've been through here with everything. You don't know what's going to happen. You want to be able to, provide for yourself and your family, if you need to. And I'll be the first to admit, I don't know how to do a lot of that shit. I don't know, I've my parents, each of my parents had gardens before and stuff. I know the basics of gardening and growing some vegetables and food and stuff. I know some fundamentals there, but I've never been seriously hunting in my life. I've shot guns before, but not for a long time, and certainly not at game, So I'd like to learn how to do that, because I think it's important. You know how to garden, know how to hunt, know how to provide. Now I sound like the fucking Joe Rogan pod. Everybody's like, hey, dude, if you made it this far in, you're like, hey, dude, we listened to JRE. We don't need to hear your advice on it, especially since I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. But it's something I'd like to do. I'll leave it with that, Yeah, it's cool, man. I'm developing. I got really comfortable, especially the last couple weeks, with a 5-minute set. So that's cool. I can do that pretty much not even thinking about what I'm going to do next. I got 5 minutes that I can just kind of blast through. And yeah, man, I I'm comfortable with that, and I'm cool with that, because like when I talked to Alonzo a couple weeks ago, you know, guy who's been in the game, been a professional comic for a long time, he said that should be your main goal for your first year is by the end of that first year mark, do you have 5 minutes, you know, that's really strong that you can do. You got a solid 5-minute set. So he's like, if you have that at the end of a year, then you're doing well. Hey, man, so if I have that already, you know, then I'm ahead of the game. I'm not saying that I have it. I'm saying, you know, that I think it's funny and therefore I have the 5 minutes already. I'm saying I've done the same, roughly the same 5-minute set multiple times now in front of, you know, non-comics, in front of crowds. And I've done well consistently, man. I've done well. You know, I've had people come up to me say they're funny. They were laughing, had a couple, like several big laughs, you know, throughout the 5-minute sets. So it's good. It's a sign that I'm doing something right. I'm moving in the right direction, you know. The stuff I have is decent. Obviously, I'm going to keep working on stuff too. And, but yeah, other than that, I've probably said it like 50,000 times in this fucking podcast episode. Oh, I watched Shane Gillis' special. That's another thing I did this week. That just came out last Tuesday. If you haven't seen it or watched it or listened to it, go do it. It is funny. He's one of my favorite, like newer comedians, you know, compared to guys that have been in the game for decades. Love Shane. I saw him do that same set that he released with the special. I saw him in July when I was working the door at Hyenas. I saw him do that set pretty much to the word. It was pretty much the same set. And I don't know, man. I'm going to be honest. I think that he did better up here in Dallas-Fort Worth than he did when in Austin that night that he taped that special. I for some reason, I feel like maybe the crowd wasn't mic'd a lot enough, or it was just an off night, but I felt like the crowd wasn't giving him as much love as they should have. And it's well-deserved because I think the jokes are hilarious, you know. Like I said, he's one of my favorite new comedians. I just felt like that crowd, I don't know. I felt like he did way better up here, and maybe it was just an off night or something, because I know he mentioned that he only had the budget, or maybe it was just how the chips fell with his production schedule. He only was able to film one night. So, you know, I don't know. I felt like that crowd should have been a little bit more rowdy for him, though. They should have given him more love. And I don't think it was on his part. I don't think it was a failure on his part. Like he wasn't funny enough or he wasn't bringing it, because he certainly was, in my opinion. I feel like, I don't know, the crowd just seemed kind of off, and I don't think it was him. But hey, what are you going to do? I don't know. Go check that shit out, though. It's really great. It's his first special. I think he's one of the most hilarious newer comedians in the game. You know, it's his time to come up. So I'm a big fan. But yeah, man, other than that, dude, I'm going to keep doing my thing. I'll have more updates for you next week. Hopefully everything that needs to come together throughout this coming week will come together, and I'll be able to come back with a guest and start this whole thing off. It's really just a matter of, you know, getting through this weekend. Like I said, there's the birthday party. There's all this stuff going on that I have to take care of with a bunch of other shit too. And I got to travel out of town in the middle of the week this week, take care of something. So I'll be back, and hopefully everything will be rolling by next episode. But I do appreciate all of you that do tune in and listen to me every week. We are growing Crux Nation slowly but steadily, and it's only going to get better. I appreciate everybody who's sticking in this, sticking with me through this whole thing. There we go. I finally got that out. And I do appreciate it, and I promise it's going to get better. It's going to get more eventful. And yeah, man, in the meantime, just like I say, I don't say every week. It's like I've been doing this for fucking years or anything, but keep growing Crux Nation. I appreciate all of you. Crux Nation, Crux, yeah.
Let me hear you say Crux, yeah. Crux, yeah.